Happy Pi Estimate Day, everyone. Now, there has been an issue that has been bugging me for the past few days, and I'd like to get it out on this channel and share it with you guys. Let me know what you think about my views. So, we are at the fourth data pack of the Sense cycle, and looking at the past cycle, we can see that the runner game has accelerated significantly. Things have been moving much faster on the runner side, and this is a huge contrast to Worlds 2014, where it was the Corp side that was dominating, mostly thanks to the sheer speed and power of Near-Earth Hub Astrobiotics. But why have the tables turned so much? It can't possibly be because of the console turntable, right? Well, there are many reasons, and most people attribute clot as the main cause of the runner becoming so much more powerful. But I think one of the big underlying reasons that many people are ignoring, which is actually a big white elephant in the room, is none other than the fact that card draw has increased. The amount of card draw on the runner side has increased significantly over the past cycle. Just look at all the cards here. These are all the card draw cards I've identified since double time all the way up to now underway. And just at a glance, you can notice immediately right off that Anarchs were the biggest beneficiaries of it all, getting so many card draw cards, nearly twice, if not twice as many as the other two factions. Of course, they needed it badly. The main reason why Anarch was virtually unplayed prior to the Sand cycle was because of that inconsistency. And this certainly fixed it. But has it gone too far? I don't know. Symmetrical Visage is not, strictly speaking, a card draw card in the sense that it does not increase your card draw power, but it increases your efficiency with card draw. And anything that encourages you to draw more cards is a card draw card in my book, because it means that you see more of your deck more likely. Adjusted Chronotype does not improve card draw by itself, but it enables one of the strongest card draw cards in the game right now, which is Wildside. So yeah, basically all in all, Anarchs have gotten a hell of a lot of card draw over the past cycle. And if you notice, Shapers have barely gotten anything at all. The only thing they really got was Game Day, which is quite unplayable because it doesn't help you with card draw early on. You need to set up to get it to work. And this is why you actually notice, if you check out any of the competitive decks out there, deck lists rather, you'll notice that there's a lot of green, but that's almost all prepaid Kate. If you just scroll, you see that there is a chaos theory here and there, but for the most part, all the green you see is prepaid Kate. Prepaid Kate is a solid tier 1 archetype. It's still probably the best runner out there, but all other Shaper archetypes struggle so hard to make it even to the tier 1.5 realm, and with good reason. It's just they didn't get much with the past cycle in terms of consistency, let alone other good archetypes. So Shapers are just floundering, in fact, believe it or not. The only reason why it's not seen as such is because of the dominance of prepaid Kate. Remove prepaid Kate from the equation and suddenly Shapers look like a whole bunch of useless stuff, basically. Even criminals don't look that bad. Most of the criminals are also hanging around the sub tier 1.5 area, mostly because they need so much influence to get stuff done. They've gotten a few boosts here and there, but people haven't managed to make guys and the BNE breakers work yet. So all you're seeing nowadays is an onslaught of Anarch. Is this a good thing or not? Well, first we have to ask ourselves, what does card draw give to the runner side? The reason why what I'm guessing is that the developers wanted to push more card draw, especially on the Anarch faction, is because they want to encourage deck diversity. In the past, it used to be the case that influence will always be spent to patch up an archetype's weakness. So in your typical solid Andromeda deck, you're missing R&D multi-access, so you splash in some mediums and R&D-Is. You need some consistency, so some decks even go for diesels and quality times. And of course, you need breakers like Corroder. What happens is you have no influence left to play around with fun, cool ideas that might throw your competition off during a tournament. Now that the draw problem has been solved with Anarch. They can actually afford to spend their influence on janky stuff, on stuff that opponents just won't expect. Like the gang sign Edward Kim deck that took top 8 in regionals. That's a pretty good example of a deck that can just go off the wall and make use of spare influence that they don't really need to take the competition by surprise. Another important thing is that because there are no tutors within the Anarch faction, Jin doesn't really count. It's pretty inefficient and is bad for a few reasons. They don't have to print tutors for Anarch. They just need to print lots of draw cards and that makes Anarch good as by itself. And in fact, that's exactly what you see. Regis Max is a very popular archetype that does well even without any tutors just because of its draw power. It's able to see the cards that it needs very quickly. But injecting lots of draw into the game does have its downsides, and they need to be managed very carefully. One big problem with introducing more card draw into the game is that card draw does not only reduce the need for a faction to spend influence. Card draw actually does a lot of stuff. It directly improves every single card in your deck. Your sure gambles get better. Every single card gets better because you can draw them more quickly. For example, in the Anarch faction, Parasite and Clone Chip become so much more powerful because you can almost guarantee that you draw at least 3 or 4 of them between Parasites and Clone Chips throughout the entire game. Every single Parasite you draw is one less ice you have to deal with when it comes to breaker taxation, and that is huge. More draw also means a lot of things, not just for Anarchs but for all factions. The most important thing is that it means more money, more money, more money. Being able to draw lots of sure gambles improves your economy. Daily cast, that's 5 credits a pop. And yeah, the bottom line is giving a faction more draws means that they get more money as well. They get richer faster. That is something that has to be balanced very carefully and has to be thought of. I can name many more stuff that is improved by card draw. For example, with lots of card draw in prepaid kit, you see lots of multi-access. The Maker's Eyes come out turn after turn. You wonder where they get it from. Well, it's from the card draw. They get lots of money as well. Lucky Finds, Dirty Laundries. They can all be played very quickly because they draw so many cards. And this brings us to the next problem. While the runner game has gotten faster and faster, they have gotten richer. They are drawing more tools to deal with the Corp. The Corp game has gotten slower. It's not just stagnating, it has gotten worse. Why? Because of clot. No longer can you push a fast game as the Corp because you always have to be worried that the runner can just pull out a clot from nowhere. And that is literally a clot in the Corp's gameplay. No longer can Corps rush against runners. They have to play slow. And playing slow is bad when the runner is making so much more money than the Corp. The Corps cannot hold their own anymore. That is why the only real Glacier archetype today that exists is anything that involves Caprice Nisei. Because Caprice Nisei is really the only thing that can stop a runner with infinite credits. With no new money or draw cards on the Corp side, Corps have not been receiving much of a boost. Most of the new cards in the Sansan cycle are about expanding archetypes horizontally. So you have Brain Damage HB, you have Wayland that does drip meat damage in the form and tries to trash your connections. Those are all janky and fun, but they do not really belong in existing archetypes. They do not make existing decks better. And the existing decks simply cannot keep up with the improving runners as a result. As runners get faster, the Corps languish. And that is the huge problem you see now, where at top tier competitive play, I think the runner has an edge over the Corp most of the time. There is no single Corp deck right now that can dominate the archetype, that can dominate the meta. In fact, most Corps struggle very hard. And another big problem is that remembering that most of the card draw went to the Anarch faction, you realize that the Anarch faction is suddenly a bit too strong. Some might argue with me on this, but I feel that Anarch, as it stood before, at the point of Order and Chaos was already very powerful. All the Anarch cards are actually higher in power level compared to your Criminal or Shaper cards. Medium is much more powerful than R&D Interface, for example, even though R&D Digging is supposed to be the specialty of Shapers. Keyhole is an amazing card. Again, another form of R&D pressure that Shapers can't really match. What else is there? In terms of ice destruction, there is no contest. Anarchs do it the best and it's very annoying as the Corp to deal with parasites, and now with Fork, Knife and Spoon, it just gets worse. AI breakers, no Shaper or Criminal does it better. Atman is nice, but now with Faust and Eater, whew, Anarchs can get through anything. This is unheard of. Now, Anarchs can do everything already. They can pressure R&D, HQ, and Archives. They have the best breaker suite in the form of the Anarch breaker suite, and with David, they have the big ice all covered as well. They can destroy ice that is too annoying for them. So they have basically all the tools you need to win the game, which is to destroy the ice, to get through the ice, and to multi-access for 7 agenda points. Now just throw in more card draw on top of that, and what you have? You have a very overpowering faction. No wonder no one wants to play Criminal anymore, and no one even bothers playing Shaper outside Prepaid Kit. With all the powerful tools in Anarch right now, this is the place to be at. Hop on the bandwagon, because this is where it's at. All the powerful cards in the red faction, you gotta play it. It's only gonna get stronger from here on out, considering that the draw cards are already there. It's only gonna get better. So really, card draw has its benefits, and I think they are pushing the meta game in the right direction. It has given Anarchs a much needed boost, and now you see more diverse decks in the red faction as a result of that. However, this has not been controlled very well in terms of balance between the runner and the Corp, as well as within the 3 runner factions. And this is something that should be addressed in the last 2 cycles of San cycle, hopefully. I don't hold much hope for that, but it needs to be done. Otherwise, we'll just see a sea of red and Prepaid Kit all over the place at the upcoming Worlds 2015. Thanks for watching and happy night running. Goodbye.